Hi, another Marky-mark video, and today what I thought I would do is very quickly go through and explain my cleaning regime, keeping my records clean and nice. Most people who are in this hobby realise the importance of keeping records really nice. Some of them go to extraordinary lengths to make sure that they are completely clean. If you've got thousands of pounds, euros, dollars to spend on a ultrasonic, then that's fine. But for me, this is my go-to method, and hopefully maybe you'll pick up a couple of tips, and I'll be interested to hear if it's useful or not. So anyway, I thought I would just explain what I've got here. Toner Wet Goat brush, very good for getting a lot of muck out. Very nice and soft bristles, but rigid enough to go into the grooves really nicely and pick out a lot of the rubbish. I've got a solution here. It's the Pro-ject. Half of it's distilled water with their brand of concentrate, which works very well. And two really key pieces of, well, three key pieces of equipment. First of all, my Milty, which works really, really well. They retail for about, I think it's about £50–60 in the UK, but this works really, really well at taking off the static. Before I do a wet clean, I'll take off, if it needs it, I'll take off a lot of the muck with this. In previous videos, I think I mentioned about doing a dry clean only, and I've kind of moved towards using the Pro-ject to give even new records a really good wash. Actually, found this very effective. Now this works really, really well. I can probably demonstrate how well this works. So if I know for a fact, if I take off the tape off this, that's gonna just stick to me like that. That's statically charged. If I take the Milty, I can just very gently press, and you can see the plastic move, and there you go. Just by two presses, it's neutralized the whatever it is, the static charge, and that's now fallen to the ground. And that's what happens with dust on vinyl records. This will do a really good job. Really pleased with this. What I then do is use the air blower and blow any muck around, and I use this light to pick out a lot of the rubbish and muck, so I can see I've got a really good clean. I've got the Pro-ject here. This is the VCS2, I think it's called. It's a bit bigger than the VCS. It's got a bigger motor, and it's got a tank which collects all the water. It doesn't ever get full, to be honest. It's pretty good. We've got felt lips, which the record sits on this platter here. What I like about this is, I think I mentioned it before in a previous video, but the dirty side of the record doesn't come into contact with a turntable, as it were, like with the, I think it's the Oki-noki, where you clean one side and then you turn it over, and the clean side's then in touch with the dirty side. So I really like this system. This is a fantastic piece of equipment. And the other thing I like as well is this little jobby here. Really good for if you've got double LPs and you're cleaning two records. I can clean one record and I just gently sit the first record on there, and only the label is in touch with the stand, and I can clean the second one, and by the time that's done I can then put this one away, and so these are quite cheap as well, a few quid. They weren't that expensive. So that's my cleaning process. So let's have a look at cleaning this brilliant record here. If you've not heard of this one, this was recommended to me by my good friend at work, and it's Barclay James Harvest, a concert for the people in Berlin. It's a lovely picture there of these people in Berlin waiting for this concert to occur, and recorded in 1982 on Polydor, and it's a really lovely record. So let's give this a clean. and I will show you. Put that there. Okay, so this record isn't too bad. It's got a bit of grot. I can see some specks. You won't be able to see that. You might be able to. But let's put it on the project. So I've saved a bit of time here by not using the stat and the Giotto. I'm just going to go straight to this. It's not that dirty. It's not too bad. But if it was covered in grot, and believe me, some new records that I've received, a Beastie Boys Ill Communication was covered in grot. Paper in it, it just looked dreadful. So anyway, I blasted it with this and then stuck it on the project and cleaned it properly with a wash. So let's get this going. One of the things I will say is that it's very noisy, so I usually clean before I don't listen to records and use this at the same time, because you just, what's the point? So now take a little capful of the cleaning solution, and I just do that. I take my toner wet grate. What I will do is, because it's the first time I've used this, I've got a bottle of deionized water here. What I will do is I will wet the bristles before I introduce it to the vinyl. Go along like that. Bristles nice and wet. And what I will do is just distribute the cleaning solution on the record. And what I will do is go the other way. So I've made sure I've got every kind of aspect of the grooves washed and cleaned with and brushed. And if it's really grotty, I'll leave it there for 2 minutes, let it soak in and break down any serious big pieces of schmaltz, I think is the word that they use. So let's give this a go. Set that in place, and we'll turn it on. And what I will do is one full revolution one way, and then I'll do another revolution the other way to dry the record, and I'll just overlap the point where it starts and finishes. Let's do it. Other way. And just at the point where it stops kissing the record, I'll lift the arm and we'll do the other side. Yeah, it looks lovely. Looks really good. Put that on there. Let's do it again. Fill the cap and gently distribute the cleaning solution. Okay, actually. Okay. Go the other way. Holding the brush at an angle, making sure that the solution is distributed fairly evenly. That looks lovely. Right, put the arm in place. Go the other way. Okay. Now I've been so impressed with this machine in terms of, you might not be able to see you might not be able to see that, but that is really, it's a lovely record. It's good condition, but it's in fantastic nick, and it's absolutely, for me, that looks spotless, really good. And what I will do with all my records is I will use let's just use this now. I just pop that on there. This is what I'll do with that for a moment. Yeah. So what I will do with all my records is I'll put them into a new MoFi inner sleeve, archival scratch proof inner sleeve. And if I've got a really nice original inner sleeve, like there's some lovely photography here, like with this record, what I'll do is, because I'm a little bit OCD, I'll pop the new inner sleeve in there like that. I'll take my lovely clean record, which is stunning, really nice, and I will pop that in to a brand new inner sleeve like that. I then I'll put it in face up, so the inner opening's on at the top, like that. And I will take one of these. This is a resealable, which I took the tape off to show you the static charge, but I'll take one of these, which I really like. Remember, don't use the thick, smelly plastic. Always go for the polyethylene, I think it is. I'm trying to think of what it's called now. Polyvinyl. Don't use the polyvinyl. Go for, because of the issues of leaching. And the opening is the same as on the album. So, like that. Seal it up. Very gently. That is all nicely clean and sealed, ready for another 30, 40 years. But what I do, and I don't see anyone else doing this, and I'm sorry, but I don't like putting records on the back of the covers. I know lots of people do it. There's lots of reasons why I don't do it. I think for a start, I'd like to see the back of the cover. I also think that you can cause ring wear on the outer protective sleeve on the adjacent record if you've got them in, so you don't pack them in too tight, but I just don't like to see the record on the outside. It looks very peculiar to me. But what I like to do is to what I call hood. I hood my records because I do most of the dusting in the house, and the one thing it gets everywhere, of course, but the majority of dust falls vertically onto surfaces. And if you've got any kind of, I mean, there's an opening there, but I'm quite fastidious. Any kind of opening, anything, any chance of dust getting in, I just like to put over the top a nice thick, this is I think it's polyethylene. I think it's Spin Care, but I hood all my records, all my Analog Productions, Sam records, they all are hooded. So any dust that's moving down cannot get into that lovely clean record now. That is protected, and I won't need to wash that for, I don't know, until it needs a wash again. But that's how I look after all my records. And as they say, if you look after your records, then basically, obviously, they retain their value, but you don't get any of the crispy, poppy, crackle noise that's often associated with unloved records. So that's me. Would love to hear your comments about this crazy way of cleaning. I'm sure there's a whole other load of things that I could be doing, but if you're not a subscriber, subscribe for some more videos in the future, and leave a comment and a like, and I'll really appreciate it. But yeah, that's a really clean Barclay James Harvest concert for the people of Berlin. All right, many thanks. Take care. Bye.